What's going on YouTube? So Acura rocked the enthusiast world last year with the reintroduction of the Acura Integra.
And we're back in this spunky little car to see if there are any updates for the 2024 model year.
But with the Type S just on the horizon, should you choose this standard version or wait for that? Let's go ahead and find out. Alright, so let's get things started here under the hood. So the Integra comes with a 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, making 200 horsepower and 192 pound-feet of torque. Now, like we mentioned at the beginning, there is an upcoming Type S product, and we're happy to announce that we will be driving this really soon in June, so get excited for that.
Yeah, as far as this one though, power is going to be routed to the ground via the front wheels only, and you do have a standard CVT or optional 6-speed manual transmission on the top model. Fuel economy is 33 miles a gallon combined for the CVT, or 30 mpg combined if you choose the manual.
Let's go ahead, close up the hood, and of course we're going to go out on a drive later on in the video. So when it comes to the exterior design, the Integra has a lot of the signature Acura design elements, but with some special twists because it is a special product. Let's start out with our grille. Of course, you're going to find the diamond pentagon grille, but this is a frameless variety, so you notice you don't really have the big border. The diamond shapes actually extend all the way out to the edges, and these black elements really look nice against this platinum white paint scheme. Now let's come over here to the left headlight specifically, because this is where you're going to find the special Integra branding. This is actually inside of the bumper and really harkens back to those past Integra models. Now, as far as the headlights themselves, standard dual eye full LED headlights. As you can see, you've got the crystal design through there. You also have the chicane daytime running light and turn signal indicator. Plus, both of your a-spec models will come with LED fog lights. Now, as we move around to the rear, you'll find something that the Civic Si certainly can't give you, and that is the Sportback design. It's really nice looking, I think.
Yeah, certainly. I think over the past year it's grown on me. It's kind of like broccoli when you're a kid. It was a little odd at first, and then now I'm starting to really like the way the rear looks. Now, let's go ahead and dive into some of those design elements themselves. So Drew's going to hop inside, and we're going to see if all the elements are LED in our taillights. So we do have an LED brake light portion, LED reverse light, and LED turn signal indicator. It's a nice amber color. I really love this taillight unit. It's very premium, and it's going to be on every single Integra model. Now, another design element I want to point out is that for a-spec models, you're going to have this blacked out spoiler up top. You also have kind of another spoiler up here at the top of the lift gate. And then dropping down to the lower area, this is going to be a pretty aggressive diffuser. You're also going to have dual exposed exhaust outlets on every single Integra model.
Now, moving on to our wheels, the Integra does come standard with 17-inch alloys. However, both the a-spec models will come with these 18-inch shark gray alloy wheels. I think they look quite nice as well. And you do have bigger brakes. Coming up here, we have our a-spec branding. We've got a two-tone finish on our mirror, and they are going to be heated as well as have standard blind spot monitoring.
Now, here at the side of the Integra, you are certainly going to notice this 5-door liftback shape, and I really like the way it looks here at the side. It's certainly very unique for this segment of vehicle. As far as the overall length is concerned, 185.8 inches is what you're looking at, which is actually quite a bit larger than stuff like the BMW 2 Series. As far as design elements, we do have a nice body line kind of going up through here, and we do have blacked out window surrounds for all of our a-spec models. Now, I do also want to talk about your safety systems because this is a very impressive part of the Acura Integra. Acura is including all 4 of your active safety features as standard equipment, including adaptive cruise control with a traffic jam assist function. The only caveat to that is if you go for a tech model, you will also have low-speed braking. And now we're done with the exterior of the 2024 Integra. If you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
Now let's go ahead and check out the interior. But first, here is your key fob. You do have a standard smart entry system with the Integra, and you also have the latest Acura key fob. I do want to point out that we have remote start on this model. That's going to be included with the a-spec tech model, and you have to have the CVT to have that functionality. Now to get inside, just grab behind the handle. That's going to unlock the door. And welcome inside the interior. The first thing we're going to talk about, as always, of course, is going to be our seating material and color choices. So your base and your a-spec model will come with a synthetic leather trimmed seat. However, with the a-spec with technology package, which is what we have today, that's going to come with the synthetic leather with suede inserts. As you can see, these are 100% Acura seats. So you have that special design, looks really nice. The Alcantara will hold you in place, and a nice thick bolster with the color contrast stitching throughout. Now, as far as your color choices, you're looking at ebony, red, or orchid for your a-spec models. Going down to the seat controls. Standard 8-way power adjusting a-spec with technology will have 4-way lumbar support, bringing your total to 12 ways. And you also have 2-person memory seating here on the door. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Now as I climb in here, as you can see, we've got a cool animation and sound effect that pops up on the gauge cluster. And let's go ahead and dive into the overall cabin materials. Now, of course, as you can visually tell with the cabin, it is going to be related to the Honda Civic, but there are some nicer elements in here. So let's start out with our door trim. We do have leather padding all through here, as well as above it. It is going to be a soft touch plastic along the top. As we move to the upper dash, this will continue to be a soft touch plastic. And then this area here is what's going to be one of our main differences, because we don't have the single vent effect. We actually have the separated vents, and then we have this piece of faux carbon fiber trim that's going to run all through here. We also have a nice leather pad that's going to run all down the console here for the passenger to rest their knee against. However, over here on the driver's side, it is going to be hard touch. Also, you do have aluminum pedals down there if you can see them. Now let's go ahead and fire it up with the standard push button start. And now let's go ahead and switch to a first-person perspective and take a closer look at the details. First of all, we have our gauge cluster. This is a 10.3-inch digital gauge cluster. It does have a few different design things you can choose between depending on your drive mode. And in addition to that, with the a-spec technology model, we also have a head-up display. Also on that technology model, you have rain-sensing wipers. And then, of course, we have a nice Acura steering wheel here. You've got the cross-stitching through there. You have dedicated a-spec branding. A heated steering wheel is not going to be a standard feature on any trim level, but it is available as a dealer accessory if you want it. And the wheel itself will be manual tilt and telescoping. Now let's go ahead and turn over to our storage. This is a pretty small vehicle, but the storage is still pretty functional. So even though this is a narrow bin, it is very deep. And we put it to the test with our coupons. This is a pretty affordable luxury vehicle. We like to save money there. We save money with our coupons on food because they fit in there easily. Up in front of that, we have 2 really deep cup holders. And then the very front, we have a large rubber-lined storage area. This will also be a wireless phone charging pad on the a-spec technology, in addition to your 3 connections up above it. Now coming back to the shifter, this is just a traditional style shifter. Pull back for a drive here with the automatic model. Of course, you do have the lovely manual available as well. Press forward for a reverse. And when you go into reverse, you will find a standard backup camera on board. We do have active trajectory. You can switch between 3 different views, and the mirror does tilt down when in reverse to help you see the parking lines easier. Next to that, you've got your drive mode control, including your individual drive mode, and then you have your electronic parking brake with brake hold. Now rising above that to our climate controls, we've got a dual zone automatic setup, nice tactile feeling knobs and buttons to control everything. You also have 3-stage heated seats as standard equipment. Now the other physical knob I want to talk about next is our volume knob. That's because here on the top-end technology model, we have the 16-speaker ELS 3D sound system. So let's go ahead and give that a sample right now. Wow, so overall, this sound system sounds phenomenal. This is certainly a huge improvement over the Bose sound system that you can get in the Civic, and really just overall nice. Plus you have metal speaker grills, and you know we love those. By the way, the standard sound system is 8 speakers. But let's go ahead now and talk about the display. So you actually have 2 different displays as well. Base and a-spec models are going to come standard with a 7-inch display. However, with the a-spec technology model, we have the upgraded 9-inch display. Now, importantly, beyond the size, there are different capabilities. So when you have the 9-inch display, that is where you're going to get wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. As you can see, that's what that's going to look like, and it looks very good. Otherwise, you will have to plug in to have those functionalities. And by the way, no matter which model you choose, you don't have an integrated navigation system. Now moving above, we do have the auto-dimming mirror. No HomeLink universal remotes on board though. And then finally, up top, this is your standard size sunroof. This is actually going to be included as standard on all 3 trim levels of the Integra.
Well, guys, come on back here and sit with me in the Acura Integra's rear seat. Now, this is going to be a mixed bag of emotions for me. There's a lot of things that I like about this. There's also some things that I'm not a huge fan of. But let's go ahead and dive into the space first, because that's one thing I really like about this Integra. 37.4 inches of legroom, 36.4 inches of headroom. As far as for someone of my size, so I'm 5'9", the headroom could slightly be problematic. My hair kind of brushes the ceiling, so if you're 6 foot-ish tall, you might be a little bit uncomfortable due to that sloping headline. And then as far as the legroom is concerned here, this is very impressive though. We're looking at about 9 inches of knee space with the seat adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". My feet can also slide up underneath the seat. And one of the things I really want to point out is that this is actually more legroom than what you get in the bigger brother Acura TLX. So thumbs up when it comes to space in this Integra. Now, as far as the features are concerned, this is where I'm a little disappointed. No vents on any Integra model. If you go for the fully loaded technology, you will get 2 USB ports here in the back. They're the Type-C variety. If we fold down the center armrest, we do have 2 cup holders inside. Heated rear seats are not available on the Integra. And let's turn to our door trim. The door trim is going to be about as hard as my calculus exams, because we have a full hard touch door trim back here, although we do have a nice leather pad for the armrest portion. And then down in the very bottom, we do have some bottle storage. And now on to things that I also really like about the Integra. This right here. Since we do have that lift back design, you are going to have a lot more cargo capacity than the average thing in this segment. To be exact, 24.3 cubic feet is your cargo capacity figure in this rear area. That is a lot of space, guys. Typically, cars in this segment are going to have anywhere from like 10 to 15 cubic feet at the top end, and this is going to be like 10 more cubic foot than even the top end. So certainly very impressive. If you want to fold the seats down, you can just reach up there and do that. It's a little hard to do that, but even for someone of my size, I can kind of reach up there and do so. We don't have a cargo capacity figure with those seats folded down. Of course, this is still considered a sedan, but I can imagine you might even have upwards of like 50 cubic feet with the seats folded down. So very impressive job here in terms of the practicality of this Integra. I do also want to point out we have a built-in cargo cover up top. If we lift up the cargo floor, there's going to be a little bit of underfloor storage down here. We also have a built-in net over here, LED lighting. And check this out, guys. I did bring my handy-dandy measuring tape. I can actually keep it clipped on to my pants here, and we'll see how much space it is. We're looking at about a very solid 69 inches of space from the front of the seat back to the rear of the cargo area. Now, do keep in mind this is a hatchback, so the roof line is not super tall, so you can't stack like really high up, but that's a large amount of space for any long objects. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2024 Acura Integra. This is a very integral part of this car. Get it? And we do have a lot to show you here. You can see it on the screen right now. We'll be doing a lot of different things, discussing ride quality. We'll be discussing the CVT that this particular model has, as well as kind of our remembering of the 6-speed manual that we drove last year, and kind of compare and contrast those two different transmission choices. But first, let's go ahead and start out with a hard acceleration. Not bad.
Our acceleration to 60 miles per hour. Now, like we mentioned on the outside with the spec dump, this is a Civic Si power plant, basically. So it's the 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, 200 horsepower, 192 pound-feet of torque. So that is respectable power numbers for a small sedan such as this. And overall, acceleration feels pretty good, especially when you first take off. I like that initial surge of torque.
Yeah, I think it feels really spunky. I mean, this is the Civic Si's engine here in the Acura Integra, and the Civic Si is, you know, not one of those cars that you would say is, oh, it's so fast, but it's certainly quick enough to get you that smile on your face, and it has a nice spunky feel to it.
Right, and of course we're going to talk about it as we go through this test drive, but pure speed is not the focus of this Integra. Now, of course, we're going to add some more speed to the equation when we get to the Type S. We're really thrilled.
Yeah, excited for that.
We're going to be sampling that soon, and we can't wait to share that with you guys. But as far as this standard powertrain, perfectly adequate for a vehicle of this size. How I wish I was in the 6-speed manual transmission model that we drove last year. This is the continuously variable transmission. Of course, not everybody's going to want to drive a manual transmission vehicle, so they do still offer the automatic. It does have a shift simulation, as you could tell as I took off there. And overall, you know, they tune this to be really nice and responsive. This is very lively for a CVT. It's a good one. Of course, if you're an enthusiast, though, don't hesitate. Get the 6-speed manual. Yeah. Honda does such an excellent job with their manual transmission. It's so crispy.
I think it's like nice my favorite manual.
It's nice.
So good. Also, I do want to point out, if you get the manual, you get a limited slip diff, which is an interesting thing that they are including. And also worth noting is that the manual is only available on the highest end trim level of the Integra. So a-spec Tech can option on the manual. No cost, though, but it is only on that highest end one. So you're going to have to go for all the features if you want the manual transmission. I'm not sure exactly what the split is between manual and CVT now. It was 65% of pre-orders last year, but I feel like at least at our dealership, we're seeing more CVTs. So, yeah, I'm not really sure if more people are choosing for that or not, but
yeah, I mean, considering that it's available on all 3 trim levels versus the manual just on 1, yeah, I'm sure there's a decent take rate for the CVT, and, you know, it's totally fine. It does have paddle shifters as well, by the way, so you can shift through some simulated gear changes manually if you want.
Not bad acceleration,
yeah,
for sure.
Not bad. All right, so that was in the sport mode, by the way, just to kind of show you what that was like.
To do some manual shifting
there.
Yeah,
but we're actually on the right stretch of highway here for our sound level reading, so let's go ahead and get that.
All right. Now going the 55 miles an hour. We are settling in at 57.1 decibels as our sound level reading. And as far as how that compares to some of its rivals, we really don't review very many cars within this segment of vehicle, but I can tell you this car is a lot quieter than the Honda Civic. The Honda Civic is one of the louder options even in its own segment, so this is going to be quieter than that. And I want to talk about your ride quality as well with this Integra. One of the really cool things if you go for the top-end a-spec tech trim level is that you get adaptive dampers, so that does a really good job, as we're noticing right now, of soaking up the bumps. This is a really rough road that we're on right now, and it also gives you the dual character, so you can throw it into sport mode and you can really kind of liven up this Integra, make sure it's a nice sporty experience for you, because of course this is a sporty vehicle in its heart.
And like I mentioned during the interior section, you have the individual drive mode. That's a thing I really like to see when you have that customizability between your suspension, your steering, your throttle response, stuff like that. So you could make, for instance, a special mode where you have sporty steering, but keep the suspension more comfortable for your everyday ride. However, we'll go into the sport mode here and test that out. But from what we experienced earlier, it really doesn't feel like it's uncomfortable at all, even if you're in the sport mode. Just a little firmer.
Yeah, and I'll say that these seats are also very, very comfortable. These are your typical Acura seats, and I'm very happy with how comfortable and supportive these seats are.
Now, we don't have a lot of curves in this drive circuit here, but we're getting onto the highway, so we've got a nice on-ramp. Very nice, very nice. This really just brings me back to Texas, where we really were spending a lot of time with the manual transmission model and just enjoying it on some back roads, because this Integra really comes to life on a back road.
Oh, yeah.
They've done just an excellent job of keeping the sporty dynamic first and foremost in this vehicle, so you just have excellent body control, really basically no body roll whatsoever as you go around corners. The steering, in that typical Honda way, it is lightning fast, really responsive. It has a good feel to it as well. And it's just a very tossable feeling vehicle. It doesn't feel super heavy like a lot of vehicles do these days. It just has kind of that classic lightweight feel to it, and I like that. Yeah,
for sure. And also, one of the things I do want to point out that I forgot to mention is that if you get the manual transmission, it does have downshift rev matching, which is another really nice thing that we definitely enjoyed. Like you said, it's kind of giving me a flashback to our fun drive, and I just was having an absolute ball in this Integra, which, yes, it's not super powerful, but as a great saying is, it's great to drive a slow car fast, but, not a fast car slow. So this is really kind of one of those cars that you can really push the limits and really enjoy, especially with the manual transmission.
Thought you were going to lose that for a second.
I almost said it backwards.
I was like, is he going to say this right? He's really bad at saying every single expression of the English language.
And I do want to talk about just some normal everyday things going on with this Integra. Not everyone is all that concerned about driving dynamics, even if you buy one of these. So we do have front-wheel drive as our only option, no all-wheel drive on the Integra. And as far as your fuel economy is concerned, you're sitting at 33 miles a gallon combined for the CVT model. If you choose the manual, it's knocked down to 30 mpg. And do keep in mind the trim levels might change those fuel economy figures ever so slightly. All right, now it's time to do one of our other signature elements, our slam dunk and our airball. Drew, what's our slam dunk?
Slam dunk has definitely got to be the fact that this is an enthusiast car. First of all, it's a car. Everybody is only launching crossovers, it seems like these days. We have a sedan. It's affordable, and it has the enthusiast in mind the entire way through, with all the different options that you can pick, including 6-speed manual, limited slip differential, all for an affordable price tag. It's hard to complain about that.
Yeah. Now, the one thing we will complain about is our airball, and the airball just to us is some elements, especially inside this cabin, just ooze Civic a little bit too much. Yes, we know this is related to the Civic. Yes, we know that it is a very affordable product, so you can't, make it incredibly nice and still have that affordable price tag. But there's a few elements in here that could have just maybe been modified to just make me feel like it's a little bit less like a Civic. You know, like the steering wheel, the display is exactly the same. The
Just
rear
for
door
more
trims are,
familiar brand feel.
straight Civic. So some of the elements would be nice to maybe change a little bit. And lastly here, I do want to talk about your warranty. Acura has a very good warranty for a luxury vehicle. 4-year, 50,000 miles for your basic, 6-year, 70,000 miles for your powertrain. They're also going to be including 2 years and 24,000 miles of complimentary maintenance, which is something that the vast majority of vehicles in this segment don't include. Now, another thing I'm really happy about with this 2024 Integra is that the prices aren't going to rise a lot, and this was already a very affordable product. So, we're going to be starting at $31,500 this year. A-spec is going to go to $33,500, and then a-spec technology, like what we have today, is going to start at $36,500. It's the same price for the CVT or the 6-speed manual transmission option. Now, as far as how much of a price increase that is, it's about $1,000 this year is all. So really pretty impressive. A lot of car manufacturers are raising the prices way more than that model year over model year. Now, as far as this one, we do have the optional paint plus $1,195 destination. We're looking at $38,295 as tested. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the 2024 Acura Integra A-spec Tech. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. Don't also forget to tap the notification bell as well, because by doing so, you're going to get notified on some of the latest car content coming to the channel, so you won't want to miss out. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support, because you make this all possible. And we would love if you check us out and follow us on TikTok as well as Instagram. Anyway, we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.